So, have you guys seen The Hateful Eight?
The Hateful Eight?
No, but I have seen The Magnificent Seven.
Oh, yes, or The Ridiculous Six.
Oh, I see what's going on here.
5 Guns West.
4 Rode Out.
3 Amigos.
2 Rode Together.
The Lone Ranger. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The Western.
The Lone Ranger, that doesn't have the word one in it.
Lone is like one.
How the West was
the
one.
The word lone has the word one in it.
How the West was one.
That's true. The L1 Ranger. Reboot.
Better reboot.
Welcome to GenreBot, the group writing machine. I'm Adam.
No, I'm Adam.
Oh. Yeah, well, okay.
Okay, thank you. Hi, you're listening to GenreBot, the group writing machine. I'm Adam. There's not enough room in this town for the 4 of us.
Wait, there aren't 4 of us.
I don't...
there's no 4th, there's just the 3 of us.
Oh.
Oh, good. So there's enough room in the town for all of us.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But not
cool.
another person.
I was worried for a second.
Adam, what's your job in the town?
We'll find out.
Okay.
And I'm Vic.
Did you shoot an attractive person?
What's that?
Did you shoot an attractive person? Like, wow.
No, like like the music.
That is what it sounded like.
Oh, I see. That's better.
Yeah, maybe I should have whistled or something.
Oh, that's a different can of worms, but anyway. And
I'm Andrew. I run the barbershop / dentistry / hospital round these here parts.
and as you may have guessed, our theme is Western. Pachoo, pachoo.
Pachoo, wow, wow. I shot an attractive person. Jake Gyllenhaal is dead. Because of me.
All right, this is my topic. Yay!
Is Jake Gyllenhaal attractive?
Sure.
Okay. Yay.
Wait.
GenreBot, asking the hard questions.
Alright, so, Westerns.
Yeah. It's all about those, it's all about the deserts, man. Cowboys.
Well, okay, Adam, this is your topic, right?
That's right.
That's what he just said before I interrupted him. By being weird.
So what is the deal with Westerns?
Well, Westerns are in our day and age, often parodied, rarely, what's the word?
Played straight.
Played straight. Unless you've almost, well, sort of.
Unless you watch The Hateful Eight.
Which
Yay!
Andrew and I just did this past weekend.
Oh, really?
Rhyming.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the opening bit was a lie. I did see it.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see it yet, but, I mean, it looks really good, but...
It's not bad. It's a Western movie, a modern
It's long.
Western.
It's very long.
Yeah, especially if you watch the extended version, which is what we did.
Oh, did we watch the extended version?
There's a theater version that's 20 fewer minutes.
Well, I would recommend the theater version as long as it tells the same story.
It does.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but Westerns are all about, it's usually have the same style setting. You know, you have your old town in the West in just a endless desert, and it's all the folk that run it. You usually kind of 3 main components to it. Your sheriff dude, who's the law. Your outlaws, who are the chaos, the disorder, and your the loner, the Lone Ranger, the guy that comes to town, the stranger.
Right.
I could have done a rhyme in there. But yeah, there's kind of, I think, 7 main plots for Westerns. You have Union Pacific stories, which is about railroads.
Yeah.
Ranch
this
stories.
This is from the Wikipedia page for Westerns.
Yep.
Cite your sources.
Ranch story. Well, is Wikipedia a source? But
yeah.
Ranch stories.
Did you get information from it? Source.
Empire stories, which is not like the cool empires, but more like the oil empires. Revenge tales, cavalry and Indians, outlaws, and marshals. Different combinations of those characters that I listed. All kinds of classics from back in the days of the first major motion picture, The Great Train Robbery, was a Western. They stole a train.
Oh, yeah.
People died. and they shot into the audience, and people like freaked out. And then they got bigger with like the Magnificent Seven, which is actually a samurai movie set in American times.
In American times.
In American times, old Western times.
Yeah.
And
fun fact: I'm pretty sure. Sorry, but I'm pretty sure the samurai era of Japan is actually contemporaneous with the Western.
pretty much, like I
In
said.
fact, no, yeah, because
I saw
there
both
was
of
one
them,
movie.
and there's not many big differences between it, besides the fact that they use swords instead of like pistols.
Oh no, I'm trying to remember. I saw one movie where it was like a samurai came to this western town as like the man with no name.
Shanghai Knights.
That doesn't even make any sense. Shanghai's in China, you Cambodian.
I think that's a movie with Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson. One's a samurai, one's a cowboy, and they hang out.
Okay, that's not what I was... This was more of a serious picture.
It's probably my kind of thing. And they're making modern westerns now and then with people like Tarantino who just love that kind of stuff, and he'll do it. So yeah, westerns. What do you guys think of the genre?
Well, personally, I mean, my experience with westerns is actually based pretty heavily on my dad. He likes westerns a lot. We've watched a lot of westerns together. He's a huge Clint Eastwood fan. I've seen all the old like classic Clint Eastwood western movies and the spaghetti westerns and all that stuff. But I actually think that like my favorite of all the westerns I've seen are probably the Young Guns movies. Did you ever see those movies?
Haven't, but
Okay, well, it's about Billy the Kid. That it's actually really good. I like it a lot. It's a mix of historical and but I mean, I've seen a lot of different ones, a bunch of different ones. That it was never a genre I got particularly excited about, but it's fun. Cowboys, gunfights, pew, fun stuff.
yeah, it's kind of like an '80s movie, but a '80s action movie, but for a different generation.
Yeah, kind of. Just kind of like, hey, this is cool. Watch this.
Just turn off your brain and have some fun. It's all the same thing if you watch it enough times.
Yeah,
But
and it's funny how like people like westerns give us this idea of history with like all these ideas of history, but they're actually like mostly wrong.
that's mostly wrong.
Yeah, they're mostly not accurate.
Same thing with like fantasy, or not so much fantasy, but any medieval movie.
There were no wizards in medieval times.
Yeah, there was no dragons back then.
There was just poop-borne sicknesses.
Yeah, and Andrew, anything
Just
to say
E. coli.
before we get started?
I found it. The movie is The Warrior's Way, created in 2010 from nothing.
Nothing.
Created by nothing, or from nothing.
All right. Well, I guess we'll do.
I like westerns. I saw The Magnificent Seven and The Searchers. They're some of my favorite movies. Firefly is one of my favorite TV shows.
That's a space western.
Yeah,
It's a space western, but it's more western than a lot of space westerns.
Firefly is actually more western than anything else. It's like 90% western, and then there's like a little bit of space opera, and there's a bit of zombies, but the rest of it is just western.
One of these days, I'm going to watch it. One of these days.
You'd like it.
We're making Anna watch it.
I would. All right, but character time.
Characters.
Character
Adam,
time.
it's your topic. You choose who goes first.
It's on me, isn't it? Oh boy, Andrew.
Andrew.
Are you comfortable
Andrew?
going first, or do you want to?
Andrew never
wait?
goes first.
I go first all the time. What are you talking about? Okay, look, I'm going to re-listen to every episode, and then I will tell you if I go first in any of them. Oh, yeah, it looks like I haven't. All right, so my character is named Sergeant. I have my headphones on. It's making my voice weird.
Go ahead.
Sergeant Coleman Reinhold.
You're gonna have to spell that
Okay,
I think I have it.
yeah.
for me, not for you. I don't care if you know it.
Okay, C-O-L-E.
No, Sergeant. How's that? Was that an E or an I?
SGT period.
SGT period. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, great. And then the rest.
Sergeant. I keep saying Sergeant for some reason. All right, so Adam, you go.
Now,
wait.
what's he all about?
You got to tell us about him, man.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to Genre Butt. I remember my first episode.
I forgot about that part. I thought we already spent enough time on him. All right. So Coleman Reinhold's grandparents emigrated from Germany to Missouri. His dad was a St. Louis doctor, and his mom was a housewife because, that there's not a lot of opportunities for women in the West.
Hold on.
Yep.
Okay, so his father was a doctor, and his parents are from...
St. Louis.
Okay.
St. Louis.
Yeah, St. Louis, man.
San Luis.
Meet me in St. Louis.
Okay.
Okay, so in 1861, Missouri voted to stay in the Union, but the pro-Southern governor started mobilizing troops, and then a Union general named Nathaniel Lyon encircled the camp and ordered his troops to march the soldiers through the streets of St. Louis. The surrendered prisoners, as well as the resulting angry mob of civilians, were killed. Among the victims of the St. Louis massacre were Coleman's parents. At 18, he joined the Southern cause, but deserted in 1863 after news of Union victories at Gettysburg and Vicksburg made the Southern cause seem hopeless. Now he heads a crew of errant smugglers in the untamed West, illegally transporting cattle, guns, booze, and whatever else he can across state, county, and national borders. And it seems like that's what he'll do till... Yep.
Okay, so hold on.
All right.
Andrew actually hit on something that is actually really important here. Westerns make references to things that happened in American history that are actually perfectly accurate. And I mean, even though I said like there are stereotypes that are not true, they usually anchor themselves in like this real stuff that happened in American history.
Yeah, they anchor themselves to them, connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what Andrew basically just did is he gave us the setting for what we're doing.
I was telling Adam before the episode, my guy is a Civil War vet. It's gonna suck if anybody has a slave or something.
Oh.
Or like something that requires a pre-war
Hold on.
setting.
So he's a Civil War vet, and he's...
It sounds like Outlaw.
Okay.
Yeah, I blew through that. I know you take notes.
His family is victims of the
St. Louis Massacre?
St. Louis
St. Louis Massacre,
Yeah.
which is a real event that happened where a Union general's troops slaughtered civilians and prisoners that had surrendered.
Okay, now he makes a living by smuggling?
Yeah, he's a smuggler. He takes things like cattle and guns and booze and horses and Western things across state lines and county lines and even like down to Mexico and back, depending on local laws and such.
It must be hard to... It must be different smuggling guns versus smuggling cattle.
Yeah,
you'd think...
They smuggled cattle once in Firefly, Adam. You should watch it.
What? Last question here. How old is he?
30s, 40s-ish.
Okay, so like sitcom dad age.
Yeah, sitcom dad age. Old enough to have a
Sitcom
date
dad,
every episode.
outlaw smuggler.
Yeah. Young enough to have a date every episode. Old enough to be like, I don't know, what do sitcom dads do? Like fall over trying to get yogurt or something.
Be inconvenienced by his back, but not enough to damage him for an episode.
Yeah.
Anyway, next character.
Do you want? Are you interested in going next, or do you want to save it to third?
Well, I just went, so I'm going to say that Adam goes next.
Andrew, I'm calling it. I'm asking Victor if he wants to.
Now listen here, partner.
If he doesn't care, then he can go.
Doesn't matter to me.
Then you're going.
Okay,
You have
You're
until
up next.
sundown.
All right. Here we go. My guy's name
right.
is Walter Cobb. Most people know him
Good.
as Old Cobb. He is
Ooh, nice.
56 years old, and he works as a blacksmith. And I don't know. It seems kind of stereotypical for him to be a blacksmith in a Western, but, I mean...
I didn't know they had blacksmiths in the Old West. I guess they have to, because how else would they make metal stuff?
That's how they put the... when Doc goes back to the future in part 3, he's a blacksmith. In 1885.
Yeah,
I'm learning.
The blacksmiths are actually really handy.
That's how they put the shoes on the horses. They shod them.
Yeah, no,
Whoa.
blacksmiths they're kind of like a big cliche in Westerns, but, I mean, like, it makes sense. It's a really important job.
It's been important for most of the years. That's why most people nowadays are named... Smith is a very common surname.
Right, exactly.
Because Smiths were really important when they said, hey, we're going to start doing this last name thing.
Right.
Who do you want to be?
What a rip-roaring adventure through history. Victor, go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted.
Right, okay, so he's a blacksmith.
That was exciting. I learned stuff.
So he's a blacksmith. He's a very bitter, like, old mean guy. He dresses in these tattered old clothes. Spends most of his nights in the saloon. If you go to his shop, he does business, but he doesn't get that much. I mean, there's bottles all around his shop. He does, he drinks a lot, and he wears these. He mostly wears black. I pictured him being like a former soldier. Maybe it might make sense for him to be a former Union soldier. He wears the old uniform. But he doesn't really take care of it. Like, it's in bad shape. So it's like an old beat up Union soldier suit. He's got a big mustache.
Cool.
And even though he's always around, he always refuses invitations to card games and social gatherings and stuff like that. And a random little tidbit: he has a brother in an adjacent town who is a reverend, but they don't talk very much.
Chalk one up to the Reverend Count.
Yep.
Yeah.
Third Reverend.
Oh yeah, we do always have a
All right.
reverend.
Yeah. We need to do a massive crossover movie that's all just
Oh my god,
all our
and
reverends.
they're always mine too.
Call it the Rev. No, Andrew had one.
No, I had one. Yeah.
Oh, you did? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll call it the Revenant too. Reverends.
Once we get to 6 reverends, we'll have enough for an Avengers of reverends.
I look forward to that.
And this guy isn't even a character yet. He's just part of the backstory.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else, or is it?
No, I think that's pretty much everything for my guy.
And we have Wesley Whiplash Wells.
Sure we do.
Tell us about him.
Wesley was an outlaw turned deputy.
Huh.
Physically, I wrote here, skinny like a scarecrow and doesn't dress much nicer.
Awesome. Well, that's not awesome. It's very good writing, though.
Thanks.
Very descriptive.
So, he rode with, I call them the Band of the Black Bandana.
He rode with the Band of the Black Bandana.
The Band of the Black
with the
Bandana.
Triple alliteration. All over that today.
Yeah. It's this, it's a team of outlaws. Not band of outlaws. Gang. It's a gang. He hung out with this gang until at one point in time his posse got into an ugly shootout with him as the only survivor. He was bravely injured, wouldn't have made it until he met a good Samaritan named Eli Davis, who saved his life. Eli was either the current or an ex sheriff, kind of a law enforcer. And what happened was after they met, he healed him, got him back up to stuff. Another faction of the gang came around. The whole band wasn't disbanded in just that shootout, but just a small fraction of the posse. So another group of the posse comes by, the Band of the Black Bandana, and they found him, and they killed Eli and set Wesley free.
I was really hoping they would do that.
Congratulations.
Because now they shot the sheriff, but they didn't shoot the deputy.
Nearly have it. So what happens there is that Wesley has decided, but at this point he's like, well, this guy was nice to me. He knows what's right. This band that I've been with, they're no good. So he disbands, basically, runs away and tries to start a new life as a deputy. He goes by Deputy Davis, Wesley Davis, because keeping his name, his old identity of Whiplash Wells, undercover. So yeah, he's kind of trying to hide from his past a bit. Might come into terms with it. We'll see. Any questions?
No, but real quick, what's your character's age?
I'm gonna say 32. So we've got 32, 52, 42.
56, actually.
Oh,
it's like a sitcom
34,
actor.
34
like a sitcom,
then. Cut the difference.
Oh, hey, this reminds me of something that I've encountered on TV tropes. It's the triumvirate of three male characters: the hunter, the lord, and the prophet.
Yeah,
This is like
what I'm thinking right now is kind of a Western trio, because we have the law figure, the outlaw, and the old guy. Wait, that doesn't make sense. Okay.
Well, actually,
I was gonna say the whites, the gray, and the black.
well, there's usually at least one clear protagonist and the antagonist, but there's always like a sidekick character.
Yep.
Like Clint Eastwood always had some kind of sidekick.
the three faces of Adam is what I was thinking of.
Oh, okay, that's it.
And I actually think it's really interesting that all three of us created a character that is entirely characterized by their past.
Right.
Yeah, like none of our characters seem to really be focusing on like the future of their like what's going to happen next. Well, actually, okay, I guess that's not true. Adam's character is focusing kind of on like correcting the sins of his past by like cracking down on the criminals of now, I guess.
Cracking down on it.
Yeah.
Perhaps he's smuggling something, comes into to whatever town he's in. Oh, we should set this in a single town. Do you guys agree?
Probably.
Yeah.
All right. Time
A
to
town, maybe some outskirts.
name the town. Hey.
Ooh. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to Google Earth, and I'm just going to go to some place in Wyoming. And just look at the first town I find. That's what we'll call the town.
You could pretty much go anywhere that's part of like the Western expansion.
Yeah, I wouldn't give it an exact state. I just say.
Well, actually, could you like make it a state that was in the original Union? Because my guy fought for the Union. He would be a part of that. He never left. But Andrew's character, he fought for the South, but like he moves around. So it would make sense like for his character to not be in that. I
misspelled posse when I wrote this.
Yeah.
Posse.
Yeah, I know. I wrote like Poccey. Posscey. That's not even close.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
You're a bad person.
All right. So
Right.
Deputy
Kansas
Davis
is yeah, Victor. A big problem with that is that a lot of the Western states were just territories, so I guess they would be with the Union by default. There's a whole Western front of the Civil War that
spending too much time on this. Way too much.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
just
I'm
call
just going to pick. Okay, random town name. I'm going into Wyoming. It doesn't have to necessarily Casper, Wyoming.
okay.
Great. Awesome. The town of Casper.
Right next to Casper Mountain.
Oh, okay. We already have a setting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Take that, YA dystopia.
There's another town next to it called Bar None.
Nice. All right. So it's called Casper. That's our town, Casper.
And there's a soda lake.
All right, Andrew,
and,
we got it.
Just
We're all good.
plains. Yeah. Standard Western setting, etc.
Okay, good. So we got our place, we got our time, we got our characters. Now we got to figure out like what kind of story drives this.
Yeah, I listened to a few earlier, and there's different things like revenge stories, outlaw story. It could be where this starts, or martial story. Like I said, it seemed to shape up a lot like, all right, we have our villains, our clear outlaws, this band led by Sergeant Coleman. Ex-Sergeant Coleman, I should say.
Yeah.
Reinhold
is what I'll call you from now on.
Reinhold.
I see the thing about what we have here and what we're doing is I really like I've always been fascinated by the Civil War and that part of our history because I mean there's a lot of stuff going on. Like it's a nation divided. We're fighting ourselves. I've always thought it was a really interesting thing to think about. And I mean, it was like the bloodiest war of our whole history.
So many more Americans died.
Yeah, like,
it's Americans fighting Americans.
Crazy. It was
it's
ridiculous.
kind of cheating, yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, there was just so much death, like...
Well, a reason for that is, military tactics and weapons technology were improving and heading into the 20th century at that point.
That's debatable.
Okay.
I think going away from swords is not improving.
But medical technology, regardless, medical technology was really far behind.
Yeah.
So most people in the Civil War actually died of like injuries and illnesses.
Well, anyway, what I was getting at is, you want to talk PTSD, like Civil War soldiers, they were probably like a mess.
Got it bad.
Yeah, and that's kind of like where my guy comes from. I didn't really think this through all the way, but I picture he'll be pretty damaged from that. But I mean, Reinhold, he's clearly kind of coping a little better than my guy. I mean, even if he's kind of...
And I was from the losing side. You were from the winning side. That's interesting.
That is interesting.
Huh.
But what I'm saying here is that, like, the whole idea of being damaged, having that PTSD, that actually works for us as kind of like a theme for all our characters, because it's actually something they all have, like, in
A
common.
good theme for the story.
Well, because I think that our conflict here... Well, actually, I think our protagonist here... Congratulations, Adam.
Yay!
I think it has to be Wesley, because he's a lawman. Because that's how it works in Westerns. But the lawman is usually either a total pushover that you don't care about at all, or he's like the main character that's super important. And I think our conflict here is probably going to focus on Reinhold and Wesley, because...
Right. And Cobb is this character in the town Wesley's in that he has to, perhaps he definitely has to. Their relationship is going to be in this story at the heart of it.
Well, right. I'm pretty sure that our beginning here is going to focus on those two characters.
Exactly, but I think
but somehow old Cobb is going to get dragged into it.
yes. Let's work on that. All right, Andrew, what do you want to smuggle out of this town?
I am going to smuggle babies out of the town.
All right.
Okay, no, that's too much.
You don't want to take baby. They're a pain to deal with just to
How
begin with.
expensive do you think I could? How much do you think I could sell a baby?
What
for?
they do for diapers back then? My God.
Probably like cloth or like maybe hide,
Hide?
sand. I don't know.
Sandpaper.
What's in the West? Not sandpaper. Oh, poor babies.
Okay.
That's awful.
Pigskins. They took the skin off them and just like a little sleeping bag.
Well, like a little messed up sleeping bag.
Okay, but really though, weapons, guns, goodies.
Well, what would be? Well, okay, you're the deputy. What's illegal in this town?
I'm a new deputy. You gotta talk to the sheriff.
Well, the crime isn't that it's something illegal. The thing is that you're stealing them.
Right. Well, okay. Am I taking stuff to the town, from the town, or just passing through?
I'm saying from, definitely.
Okay.
Well, how about you try to steal something from old Cobb? Like, maybe you're trying to steal, like, iron ore or something.
Raw materials.
Okay, raw materials. Yeah.
So, okay.
Like I was hired by somebody. I was hired by some guy, like a rival
Doesn't-
blacksmith or something. To
It doesn't even have to be that. It could just be, you need,
yeah. Well, I'm not a bandit. I'm a
Dude,
smuggler.
I have a cool idea. Here, check this out.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, so there's this big building. Okay, it's like a big barn or like a shed or something, and it's where I keep like the raw. It belongs to my guy. It's his property. It's where he keeps like the metals from the mine, like the ore and stuff that he uses. I don't. What would that be called back then?
Smithy.
Wait, I'm going to interrupt you for a second. So, does this have raw materials of just your stuff, or does it have like maybe all the town's raw materials? Just so there's more stake from everyone else, and you just happen to run
He's
it?
the guy who. I got it. He's the guy
You
that
own the
works the
warehouse.
material, but the material could be owned by multiple people. Like,
Okay,
oh
yeah.
hey, this is the I don't know the.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
definitely.
say Barkeep's.
You own the warehouse, basically.
Honestly, if we were doing this for real, I would have to look up like how they did this back then.
how that works, but yeah, I'm gonna say like it's like oh yeah, maybe the mayor like ordered he has an order of say like 7 shoes in the works, but they have to be made. He only has the raw material. The smithy's the one who makes that.
Well, honestly, it's kind of irrelevant. The point is that it's on my property. I own it.
Got it.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, so Cobb is he's at his house, and what's going on is that they're breaking into this barn, they're taking his stuff, and what happens is just out of nowhere, just bang, Cobb shows up, he starts taking him out, just boom, just everyone dead, nasty, gruesome, you know,
Tarantino style.
Yeah, everyone like just no one's getting out of here alive, and you know, he just starts.
All right, now we're down to 2 characters.
No, like Reinhold's gonna get away from this, and that's the thing, because he's like, they make eye contact, and now it's like, oh, now they've seen each other, like it's establishing this kind of rivalry. And Cobb's the only one that saw what happened, so like Wesley's gonna show up, and he's gonna be like, "What the hell? Like what just happened here? This is crazy."
I'm thinking Wesley and the sheriff show up. Hold the phone on that, but yeah, keep going.
So whatever. So the sheriff and the deputy show up, and they have to take Cobb down to like the station, and they have to talk to him. They have to figure out. They have to get to the bottom of what happened. And I mean, all they know is just a bunch of people are dead. Cobb shot him, but Cobb, you know, he's really a bitter guy. He doesn't really cooperate very well, and he's just like, well, they were on my property, so I shot him. And they're like, that's no, that's not good enough. You know, like you need to help us. You're gonna help. So that's gonna be how he gets dragged into it. Is that the sheriff and deputy kind of don't give him a choice. You know, they just say like, all right, come on, you're gonna help.
Yeah, I've got a development for that. Take a listen to this. Wesley, looking over like the people that they shot, so all these people, he recognizes some of them as members of the Band of the Black Bandana.
Oh,
as if they were working underneath Reinhold now. Reinhold's now, maybe they were his band that he's recruited from, or yet he has a connection there. He identifies them as that, but he can't say that because then they would be like, well, how do you know what that band is like? Because he wants to hide his connection to that.
Do they have black bandanas?
Sure.
That would be a way to tell.
Or, I mean, maybe it's a misnomer.
Yeah, I don't think they all wear, like, gang signs.
Yeah. But...
Well, actually, they might... I mean, they could be doing something like that. Like, they could all be wearing black bandanas or something.
But no, then the tensions that Adam's talking about is gone, because it's like, how do you know these guys are the black bandana?
I don't want that to have an obvious answer. Well, they have black
bandanas.
bandana.
I'm watching you, though.
It's more like Wesley knows that what Cobb has said is true, but he can't reveal that, so he has to use Cobb instead to try and get to the bottom of things.
I mean, that's interesting because, I mean, it gives you a chance to set up the conflict, introduces Cobb and Wesley, and it gives you a chance to do some exposition, you know, for like what's going to happen here.
Yeah, maybe you could have a flashback when he sees one of their faces, and you see the scene of him in the past.
And as this all plays out, Wesley could kind of like have a little conversation with Cobb on his own, where he's like, "Hey, you're pretty good with that gun," you know. That could kind of set something up there.
They have their own interrogation on the side.
Yeah, and we could sort of unpack that as the story goes on.
All right, now let's focus back on to Reinhold. What's going on with him? He got away, and a lot of his band was mowed down. What's up, Reinhold?
All of them are just like. I'm thinking
a percentage, a big percentage.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe just like he took 2 of them on the job with him.
You're saying 2 died, and no, it's got to be more than that.
How large?
Victor, what did you have
gang?
in mind?
For what?
A number of people Cobb killed in that incident.
That would be more than one.
I would think it's probably somewhere around like maybe 7 or 8.
Okay.
Like decent amount, you know, like
yeah. Perhaps he took out. I'm thinking like 8, and then the ones that he brought with Reinhold brought like 4 extra besides that. So right now he's down to about half his size. So now, but he needs that raw material. But sneaking up didn't work out because they had the old crazy guy. Perhaps they find out that Cobb is under lock and key, and they can just sneak in there and get it. For some reason, I keep thinking subterfuge, which is not the kind of stuff that Westerns are full of. It's more black and white, out in the open than that.
Yeah, kinda. Well, what I'm thinking is,
what if this time they get caught?
This time,
like they're angry, they're vengeful, and they're sloppy. They get caught.
That's possible.
I'm thinking that. I'm thinking that at least the first act of this is going to be like a lot of world building. And like just exposition, you know, getting to know these characters.
Yes,
I think that old Cobb. Oh, geez, wait a minute. I just had a great idea.
Go for it.
Okay, let's go back to the beginning here for a second. Old Cobb, Walter Cobb, he's in this town. We're gonna like show you the town and this bar that he's in, and Old Cobb is gonna be all antisocial. He's gonna be we're gonna show some of that bitterness.
Like, hey, you
want
to play cards with us?
Yeah.
Or like a newer guy in town's like, hey, you want to play cards with us? And the old people are like, he never wants to play cards, and he doesn't, and he
exactly.
leaves. Yeah,
right. Like he's just a bitter old man, and he goes home, and you see his shop, you see the bottles everywhere, and all that stuff. And in the middle of the night, there's this break-in. He shoots everyone. And you notice, oh, he's a pretty good shot. What's that all about? But when he makes eye contact with Reinhold, there's a spark of recognition in his eye. Like they met on the battlefield. They know each other before this.
Perhaps that spark of recognition, when they met, something bad happened to Old Cobb.
Yes.
So he goes into PTSD breakdown style.
Yeah, Reinhold is he's why Cobb is. Well, he's part of why Cobb is this bitter old guy. And like when he recognizes him, it makes him hesitate. That's why he gets away. And yeah, like you said, he has like a PTSD style breakdown. He doesn't like talking about this. And so when Wesley is trying to get information out of him, there's going to be that moment where he doesn't want to talk about it, and he's not going to. But what if there's this thing where while he's in lockup, Reinhold actually comes back. He actually succeeds this time. And Wesley goes back to him and he's like, look, you know something that you're not telling me. This just happened again. He's back, and something tells me that you don't want him to keep doing this. That could be. It could be like a revenge kind of thing. Then.
Yeah, as soon as you said that, I'm like, hey, we're kind of going to revenge territory, haven't we?
Yeah, it kind of works.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the whole thing could just be kind of like a cat and mouse sort of Western. Like a chasing him around kind of thing. And I like how a lot of westerns that I've seen have this thing where they're jumping back and forth between the heroes and villains. Like we'll see Old Cobb, and then it'll go over to whatever Reinhold's doing with his outlaw dudes, what they're doing.
Right, yeah, that kind of stuff. Just kind of... So I've got a quick question about Reinhold.
Yeah.
How is he smuggling this iron ore out?
You know what? I think there's some sort of, from Reinhold's perspective, this is a heist movie.
Okay.
So there's going to be some, crazy, entertaining heist. Maybe he smuggles the iron ore out in some kind of, a covered wagon carriage thing.
That's
and
what I was
disguised.
thinking. Something like that.
Yeah. It's like the equivalent of a getaway car. What if he feeds it to the cattle and then drives... No.
Brilliant.
Earlier when you said stealing cattle and guns, first thing that came to my mind was putting the guns into the cattle and then riding them out.
And it's like, are you smuggling guns out of here? That's illegal. Nope, just legal cattle, sir. Here's the papers. Everything seems to be in order. Keep looking, boys.
Now the tricky part is getting them to vomit the guns. Getting them to vomit the guns before they have to poop them out.
No, you open up the hole in their stomachs.
Oh yeah, that's there you go.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
That's a thing that.
Why isn't this a plot element?
Yeah,
it's because it's gross and I don't like it.
No,
it's so weird.
That's an excellent point.
I agree entirely.
Please no.
So let's. All right.
It's elaborate. It's not pretty, but it's elaborate.
Okay, so...
Look, Victor, you gotta do what you gotta do. Sometimes you gotta put rocks in a cow's stomach.
All right, we're pretty deep in this movie now. Let's keep rolling with it. He smuggled them out in the carts, and they're going after him. Cobb
okay,
and,
they're in the carts.
Whiplash.
It's disguised. He's hired a bunch of people that look like, oh, we're pioneers. We're coming here from east, and we're stopping in Casper, and we're going to go all the way out to California. And here's our supplies covered up by blankets, and it's actually the ore.
Yep, they got them out. They got the ore out, so we're good there. What's our next event going to be? They go out after them, and then, Victor, you had something?
Well, I mean, you see, a lot of my ideas for this were kind of just set up, now
I mean, we could spend a good first act, maybe into the second act on that stuff.
Yeah.
But now that they're going after it.
Yeah, the whole first act is done. The second act is all going to just be the chase.
The chase.
So I'm thinking that they're going to get in a lot of shootouts and in the second act, and they'll have a lot of conversations and go into the third act fully aware of what's going on in Cobb's background and his whole thing with Reinhold and all that
The full
stuff.
story between Reinhold and Old Cobb.
Yeah, and even though like all of this is focusing on Old Cobb's background and his character and stuff, I think we need to make it so that Whiplash
Wesley?
is actually the character that the audience is he's the character that we're focusing on as like a sympathy.
Yeah, because he's his position in this is he's a tough one. You know, he's going up against his old. In a way, he's going up against people from his past as well.
Yeah, that could be a thing. That could be like a recurring theme.
Two different kinds of the past. They both have the same dark past, but it's like, yeah, he's trying not to be the. He could have a similar scene with, very similar to Cobb, how he's his skills could come out, and Cobb could realize that you're closer to them than you realize. Like you weren't always deputy, were you?
Yeah, and that could be a thing like that. He could actually end up being like an element of the plot that, like by the end, it's kind of what we're focusing on is this new thing with him being like.
Yeah, and Old Cobb could know, and perhaps early in, once he finds out, he's like, if I tell the sheriff about this, you're over. It's done for you.
Right.
You're gonna hang because you deserve to hang because maybe you're union scum or.
Yeah, and that'll really drive a wedge between like Cobb and Wesley because I mean. Yeah, he used to work for Reinhold, like that's. I mean, he'll hate that.
So yeah,
But I kind of want to drive the drama a bit by making Reinhold a bit more of a sympathetic villain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because like he's had a messed up life. His family died, and now the what he sees as this giant federal empire has won, and now he needs to eke out a living somewhere in the barren wastes by smuggling rocks in cow stomachs. And whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah.
Well, We'll see some scenes from his angle.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like when I'm, it just reminds me of like when I think back to, okay, like for example, like I've like the remake of 3:10 to Yuma has Russell Crowe and Christian Bale. Russell Crowe's character was clearly like a bad guy. He was the villain. The whole movie is them taking him to prison or whatever.
Yeah.
But. There were moments where you saw like his humanity. I mean, he clearly needed to be dealt with. It was a problem.
Yeah, as you might be able to tell from the backstory, and if you look at the name, I based him on Malcolm Reynolds.
Ah.
Which is why when Victor mentioned like how all of them get blown away in like the first 30 seconds of the movie or whatever, I'm like, he just killed half the Serenity.
What I'm thinking of when I think of sympathetic Western villains, I think of Calvera from The Magnificent Seven. You see, his story is basically like, he's got to feed his men, he's got to take care of his men, and the way to do that is from stealing crops and stuff from this little village. And these heroes, the Magnificent Seven, come out of nowhere, and like his attitude towards them, he's like, look, you're just doing your job, I'm just doing my job, like. My men have to eat. Like, why are you doing this to these? Why are you protecting these people? They mean nothing to you.
Right.
So he's got perhaps his affiliation with his band could be something that really drives. You see it from his angle that he's not all bad. He's looking out for them.
Right.
Gotcha.
And so when people when people betray his trust and mess with him, like Whiplash did, then you're passing a barrier that you don't want to pass with them. You're going bad places. Okay, so I definitely think one of these two are captured at some event near the second act. One of our two heroes is captured by Reinhold.
I think it should be Cobb. That way Wesley can get some screen time as the hero on his own for a little while, and then old Cobb and Reinhold are reunited.
Yes, okay, yeah, they meet around a campfire or whatever, and he's like, I took your oar. I got your oar, but yeah. So get out of here. Why do you keep following me? Why are you in my life?
This should be when we reveal like what Reinhold actually did to him.
Yeah, we finally see whatever.
Yeah, like like, what did Reinhold actually do to Cobb? And I didn't know this for sure at first, but I kind of always envisioned for this character that during the war, somehow during the war, his whole family had been killed. Like his old
family.
Cobb's.
Yeah. Mine was killed before the war.
All right, so I see. Man.
So then,
Or shortly after the beginning.
yeah, and like at the end, we can actually make that a thing where Reinhold realizes, oh my god, like he learns about Cobb and just goes, oh my god, I actually did to him what happened to me, like in my past.
Yeah.
And so it has to be a thing that, like, I mean, Westerns try to be kind of accurate. I'd have to research, and I would have to find out if Confederates during the Civil War ever actually did things that involved, like, burning building, like raiding Union towns and, like, killing families and, like, stuff like that.
And
It was a war. I'm sure that happened at least once on both sides.
Yeah. I'm sure
that
something
happened
like
to
that
Cobb's
happened.
family, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. And perhaps Wesley now has all the incriminating evidence. Like, he realized that he could just turn away, go back home. Like, the old man's gone. Who knows his secret, actually. The band's gone. They're not coming back here anytime soon. He doesn't, they might come back, but who knows? But
He's thinking of skinning out.
yeah, skinning out. He could cut his losses.
Yeah.
But because he ran away once before, and that's gotten him a big mess. He has to face his problems as well. All right, and
You know what?
Third act.
What? Oh yeah, third act.
Third act's easy in Westerns. There just needs to be, like, a huge shootout.
All right, I was gonna say, I was gonna propose we could create what would be a cool setting that they found themselves in.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's got to be... Well, in this case, it has to be Reinhold's hideout.
Yeah.
Wait. What if there's like a lake or a river or something between, like, safety, essentially, like the next county over where the deputy's jurisdiction goes out, and the town. There's like a river in between them.
Oh, wait a second.
then-
Well, actually, all right. You finish first. Go ahead.
All right. Well, for some reason, like, it's safe on the other side of this river or lake or body of water, and they're like, it's a boat race / shootout, like a rafting battle.
Like Spectre. But what I was thinking, we mentioned that there was a mountain, right? Like, there's a Casper
I was
Mountain.
thinking that too.
Maybe he has to get around the mountain in order to get to safety, like to get his materials to the next place. So maybe it's a chase that ends up like on some cliffside, some precipice up on the top of the mountain, where it's dangerous. There could be like a waterfall, and
I was thinking waterfall.
Oh, waterfall.
Yeah, waterfall.
And then,
right, and
then
the
whoever
shootout-
dies, probably Reinhold's, shot down, falls down the waterfall.
yes.
Yeah.
So, that could be interesting. And that's another thing that I think is interesting about Westerns is there's always these big, gorgeous landscapes, of
Gorgeous.
West. And I always think, like, wow, we really screwed up this land. The Western expansion, it makes you feel like it was just, wow, like, we screwed everything
Yeah,
up.
like what a beautiful world this was.
Well, like that could be a thing, but at this point, I think we actually have like all the pieces we need for the whole story.
Yep.
So, like, let's go to our.
Old Cobb is saved. Reinhold is down, and he and Whiplash, I don't know, what do they do? Nod to each other, ride off into the sunset.
I think what needs to happen is that Old Cobb
Ride off very carefully into the sunset.
I think what
Yes.
needs to happen at the end here is that they take out the whole gang. They take them all out. So like the day is one, whatever. But then Old Cobb, that he's going at it with Reinhold. It's a whole personal thing. But basically, Old Cobb ends up having him like at by the neck, or like has him at knife point, or somehow he's got him like in his hands.
I see where you're going.
Yeah,
Keep going.
and Whiplash, he's like, yo, Cobb, like, don't do it. It's not worth it. Don't become like him. So basically, there's this big moment where Cobb is like conflicted as to what is it he's supposed to do.
I see what's happening right before my eyes.
What always is going to happen is that old Cobb's going to be like, "You're right." He's going to let him go, and then at the last minute, Reinhold's going to like stab him or something, and then Cobb's just going to throw him off the cliff. But then old Cobb's he'll be dead, and then Wesley has to. There's a sad moment. Then Wesley has to go back to town. He's got the iron now.
The iron ore.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking something different.
Really?
I was thinking, same setup. Cobb's got Reinhold on the edge, and he's about to do it, and then Wesley's like, you don't have to do it. We take him back. We press him for charges, and Cobb's like finally like, all right, fine. He lowers his gun, and they're about to get him, and suddenly Reinhold like pulls out his gun, and as he pulls out his gun, what was I going to say? Oh, Wesley whiplashes out his gun, shoots Reinhold's out of his hand, and he falls back off the waterfall.
They don't call me Whiplash for nothing. Spin the gun, put it away.
Andrew, do you have a third scenario for us?
I do have a third scenario.
All right, let's hear it.
All right.
Then we'll draw straws.
Okay, so Cobb is holding Reinhold off the edge of the cliff. There's like a brief sort of fist fight of some sort.
Yeah, they got it down.
He's holding him off the cliff. Like maybe by the tie, if they have ties. Bolus tie, maybe.
Bow tie?
Bola tie. Like, it's like the thing with
right.
two strings.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And, like, he's holding him by that, and, like, it's starting to fall. And then Wesley comes in and it's like, no, wait, he must stand trial, or whatever. And then Cobb's like, you're right. But then Reinhold pulls out his gun. But then Wesley whiplashes out his gun, and he's thinking too fast, shoots, and misses, and hits Cobb.
Oh.
And they both go tumbling off the waterfall.
No,
that's not right.
That's
and
terrible.
And then the world explodes because everyone was too sad.
Well, although it does, I don't know. I actually do like the idea of Cobb getting injured or dying. It seems like he doesn't really have many more stories to tell.
I don't know. I think with them building their friendship, his death isn't an essential part to Whiplash's story. Like it's not him dying doesn't accomplish anything.
Well,
him being injured and him taking him back and caring for him.
Well, remember that
in almost wait, hang on.
Well,
him caring Wesley caring for Cobb in the same way that Samaritan in his story cared for him. That's going full circle. That's an arc for you.
Well, he's kind of been taking care of him by helping track down Reinhold.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I was just going to say, like, Eli Davis. That was his thing. Like, Eli Davis was his mentor, and the black bandana was the reason he got killed, and he couldn't save him. And here's his chance. He can save his mentor that he couldn't save before.
Yes.
So I guess in that way it does kind of make sense for Cobb to live, but I also think it makes sense that... Nah, you know what? Never mind. You're right. It makes sense for him to just live.
All right. Whiplash shoots Reinhold. Cobb gets injured. Wesley takes him back. He's back. Nurses him to health.
Yeah, and then pan back. You see the wagon riding off into the sunset. Back to the Casper, and that's pretty much it.
And Cobb's on board, so that way he's not going to die. Because if he was buried, then he's dead. But if he's on the cart, he's safe.
And then in the post-credit scene, you see like just a hand come out of the base of a
waterfall.
Then Reinhold's eyes open up and they're red. And he says like one word, like whiplash. And then he shoots fire from his eyes.
One of my favorite westerns.
We brought the Weird West into it. I told Adam I wasn't gonna.
One of my favorite westerns is a Clint Eastwood one. I don't remember the name, though.
The Good, Bad, the Ugly.
No, it's... the premise of it
Gran Torino.
No.
Fistful of Dollars.
I don't remember the name of it. I'm not going to get it.
Okay. Yeah, we got it. No, keep going.
Batman and Robin.
But anyway, okay, so Clint Eastwood's character in this, he shows up to this little town, and he's all mysterious, and the whole thing is him seeking revenge on this gang that kind of terrorizes the town. Although it's weird because But he also is kind of being mean to the townspeople. It's all very unclear, but he really tortures this gang, takes them all out, and then you find out that there was the sheriff that this gang whipped to death in front of everyone, and no one helped him. So at the end, there's this big twist because you realize he's actually that sheriff. He's like a ghost or something, and it's creepy. But Westerns don't usually go into that territory.
No, yeah, that's Weird West territory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which that scene with Reinhold, I want to explicitly say that's not canon.
No,
like he,
but it was fun.
Yeah. Like he actually had the whole the people painted the whole town red, all the buildings red, so it looked like they were riding into hell.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
It's actually really cool. It's a good movie.
Oh wait, no, I'm remembering from Blazing Saddles when they built a whole new house or a whole new town.
I remember.
That's different.
All right, great. We have our Western.
Yeah, I think
Let's
we have
name
it.
our Western.
Yeah, you know what? Wait, before we name it, I want to say, when I mentioned at the top of this with the three faces of Adam, the hunter, the Lord, and the prophet, that actually wound up holding up.
Who's who?
The hunter is the youngest of the three, who is like the man who thirsts to find himself by striking out into the world.
Wesley?
A direct quote. Yeah, Wesley is looking out for that.
Okay.
He's kind of the Luke.
Yeah, keep rolling.
All right, the Lord is the man who struggles to maintain stability against the ebb and flow of the world. He's kind of like the middle-aged man, and he's like the middlemost in age, kind of like Darth Vader would be in the Star Wars example, because that's a space western. That's Reinhold. The prophet, the man who looks back on his life, usually the oldest of the three, his knowledge and experience has grown into wisdom, and he seeks to impress that wisdom on younger generations. The mentor, Cobb.
Oh. I guess we did fulfill that in a way.
Yeah.
All right, name time.
Well, I have a couple ideas actually. I don't think they're really that great, but it's a start. One of them is pretty simple. I mean, I kind of like the idea of just calling it Old Cobb. But
I kind of like
I
that
agree.
idea.
well, the other idea is, I mean, I noticed that all our characters. I mean, we've got this guy who was in a gang and has this dark past. We've got this guy who was in the war, dark past. Another guy who was in the war, now he's a criminal. He has a dark past. I thought maybe incorporating that somehow into the name could make sense. Like something about like old wounds, something about that, or scars, or I don't know.
Old wounds.
Yeah.
I was thinking for some reason I thought the New Samaritan, because of the role that Wesley fulfills now that he's kind of taken up what Eli Davis did to him.
What about just the Good Samaritan?
Actually, how about instead of Old Cobb, what if we just called it Old Man Cobb? Something a little like that.
I love movies that are named after like the second most character, like because his story is while he's not the protagonist, his is the tale of an important tale of the story.
Yeah.
And how most of everything Wesley does is related to that in a sense.
Yeah, I mean that's an idea. That's something we could work.
What do you think, Andrew?
I kind of like Old Man Cobb.
Old Man Cobb. I dig it. It's like Tuesdays with Maury.
Yeah. Well, because even Wesley's story really is driven by Cobb's story,
and to his ending is open ended if you think about it. If we do have them in the cart or the carriage or whatever going into the sunset, and you're not positive he's going to live or die.
That's true.
It's where he came from, where he ended. It's
beautiful.
It's poetic.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, I can't argue with mouth noises.
He's just eating it up. It's so tasty.
I can't argue with mouth noises.
All right.
Yeah, Old Man Cobb.
We did it.
Yay!
Tagline?
Do we need a
No.
tagline? Now, Westerns
No.
don't really
Movies
do
don't.
that usually.
We don't really... Like, taglines are never really important.
I mean, I don't know. I'm
Ever.
open to
In
taglines,
any case.
but I think in the case of Westerns, I don't think they're really necessary.
Yeah,
No.
I
It's not
agree.
like The Magnificent Seven, a tale of seven magnificent people.
Actually, their tagline's one of the best ones I've ever heard.
Oh, what is it?
I'm looking it up.
Every argument we've ever had. I think you're wrong, and I know more in a minute when I look it up.
Hang on. I'm positive it's like really. Oh, they were 7 and they fought like 700.
Huh. Interesting.
Okay.
It's neat. But all right, but yeah, we all need a tagline. We got it. Old Man Cobb.
Old Man Cobb.
Okay. And so
Part old, part man, all Cobb.
I don't know
Plugs!
that.
Plugs! All
thank
the
you.
plugs!
Yeah, I got it. Thank you for listening to Genre Bots, the group writing machine. Hope you enjoyed our take on westerns, and I think we had a lot of fun writing it. What do you guys think?
I think that before this episode is over, I need to say the name John Wayne.
So,
John Wayne Bot.
Because we didn't mention John Wayne at all, and this is about
No,
westerns.
you're right.
For this episode, we're temporarily changing the name of the podcast to John Wayne Bot.
John Wayne Bot.
The Duke Writing Machine.
That is amazing.
That's pretty good. That's solid. So you can find our website at tinyurl.com/genrebots. Send us an email, podcast@genrebot@gmail.com. We spoke there. Facebook.com/genrebots, Twitter.com/genrebotpodcast. We have new accounts right now on Spreaker and Omny, OMNY, different podcast hosting sites. So give us a listen there. And if you leave us a review on iTunes, we will read it on the show. Any last words? Oh, wait. No last words, because we have next topic next time.
Oh, yeah.
Next topic, next time.
And real quick, while we're done the plugs here, I just want to mention that the website does have links to all those other websites on it.
Everything's there on the website, tinyurl.com/genrebots.
Yep. Do we have Spreaker and everything?
Spreaker.
That will be on there by the time they are listening to this episode.
Okay.
All right. Great. So, Andrew.
Yes.
What do you got?
Me. Okay, so I'm going to throw on some appropriate music for this right now.
In post, right? You're not doing it live?
No, not live.
Okay.
Not live, nor dead. For this, our spooky, ooky episode 13.
Oh.
I have chosen the slasher genre.
Oh,
Hey.
yes. I am so excited for this one.
What's that noise? It's coming from inside the podcast.
All right, next time, slasher episode.
Oh, it's going to be so good.
Until then, saddle up your garters
This is going to be so bad.
and head out.
Adios. Oh, hey, it's actually the next episode is episode 13, and it's a slasher movie. That's a funny coincidence. I hope nothing happens to like mysteriously sabotage the episode or anything. That would suck.